Hey everybody, it's the General or Critical Mass. Some of you know me as Chris. It's been a while, it's the beginning of 2018. I was asked by a friend to make a bit of a video sort of outlining what life is like for me. I am inclined to make said video. Now, hopefully, the audio is okay. I'm not using my typical microphone. I am currently using the headset microphone on my gaming headset. I don't normally do that, but I'm in the process of shifting around my computer lab, so I don't have my podcast mic working right now. So hopefully the audio is fine. Hopefully I'm not too loud. I do have the microphone kind of pushed away from my face. People are sleeping here, so I'm trying not to be too obnoxious. So I thought while I was just kind of answering some internal questions that might arise from the request to make this video, thought I would play some Star Wars, just do some ship missions. Excuse me, I'm also under the weather and have been since Christmas, which I hope everybody had a great holiday and a safe and happy new year. We got a bunch of snow here, so I think we'll go ahead and get underway with some of the ship missions, and I'll try to answer the question as best I can for the person who asked for it. If any of you end up having any questions for me, you can put them in the video comments, or if you know me personally, you can shoot at me over at Facebook. Alright, let's get going here. It's been a while since I looked at this map, so it might take me a minute to find some of these quests. So, excuse me, I just keep coughing. Some people may or may not know, late last year, I was out with family, and we were at the Outback Steakhouse, just getting some dinner. I was with my mother and my grandmother, and we were leaving, so I was going to go wash my hands and, take care of all of that happiness and joy. And there was a group of people at a table that at least one of them was a female. I don't, it's not a social commentary on who's crueler or whatever, but she went out of her way to make sure I heard her insult my weight. And, it had been a while since that happened, and you never really expect it, although I try to be as thick-skinned about it as I can, because, there's no accounting for people who have no filter, or who maybe they don't know any better. I don't know. That's not, it's not for me to say. But it caught me off guard because, well, first, you're never expecting it, but also it had been so, been quite a while since I had heard something like that. And it hurt pretty bad. It did take about as much self-control as I had to not say anything to her, because she was with another female friend, but there were a couple of what I call dude bros at the table, people who, should they have ganged up on me, could have potentially reconfigured my face. But then again, in a situation like that, I was surrounded by chairs and heavy objects, so maybe I just didn't want to go to prison. I don't know. But it was an uncomfortable situation that I ended up basically like physically biting through my lip to avoid not saying anything. For somebody of my size, and I am very large, although I have lost over 100 pounds in the last few years, someone of my size is not a simple, life is not a simple matter. People talk about being discriminated against and, things like that. Also, not a social commentary on racial oppression here or male female oppression, or any form of any form of discrimination other than because I'm heavy. It closes a lot of doors that would otherwise be open to people who were smaller than me. For instance, I can't get a job. I have been told by employers because I am uninsurable because of my size, that I cannot work for them. Even with the individual mandates on Obamacare, before those were repealed recently, a employer could willfully not hire you based on your size. It is the only form of discrimination. I will get that word correct one of these years. It is the only form of discrimination that is not frowned upon, because it is something that your insurance can turn you down for. Yes, and I realize that there are people that may or may not watch this, or, if you do watch this, that'll be like, well, then just lose a bunch of weight. It's not that simple, right? Because the body has a memory of a size after being large for so long that it actually can force to gain weight. This is a scientific fact. These are things that people just need to learn to accept. Now, like I said, I have been losing weight, but it's not like I can just shed that kind of weight instantly and that be the end of it. It's not how it works. It's not how the world works. It's never worked that way. It's never going to work that way. And so with that kind of thing that, heavier people like myself, there are others, have to deal with, it's not an easy thing. With the individual mandates for Obamacare recently removed, because of my size, I have recently lost my insurance due to the fact that they no longer have to have me on it. It was because of a physical thing. I went in, had a physical, doctor had to tell them that I was such and such weight or whatever, and because of that I was disqualified from my insurance. So I'm having to pay out of pocket for very expensive insurance. And it's my fault that I'm heavy, but it's also one of those things, like I said, I'm working on fixing. Doesn't make it any easier. Doesn't make the situation any easier to deal with. Doesn't make the companies any simpler to deal with. The fact of the matter is that because, in high school I was a professional wrestler, I put my body through a lot of crap. And at this point, my size is currently working against me. And I realize that. because of the mileage I put on my body, my knees, back, neck. Sorry, I just punched my microphone. Are essentially, ruined. I have been deemed unfit to be able to work, but I can't get disability because they consider me able-bodied. I'm not sure how when a doctor tells them I'm not, they consider that I am. It's their prerogative. You'll need to just keep at it, I guess, until you either get through or give up. But that being said, I don't want to have to live off of the government. Once I've lost enough weight, I will try to get the double knee replacement that I need to be able to survive. I've already had one, but because I'm so heavy, they have told me that I can't have another one. So, you do what you can. Another one of the subjects I was asked to cover, moving away from the medical crap, because it's a pretty sticky web. People always say that, oh, looks don't matter, whatever. Literally no one, when it comes down to it, is that way. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're sitting there thinking, I know I am. It's not true. Not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying you don't truly believe that because you've never been faced with the situation of somebody of my size perhaps maybe asking you out on a date or having actual feelings for you. I have seen the way people talk to me, and I have seen the way people look at me. Other people have too. And the fact of the matter is that you can tell the difference between an excuse and the truth. And people will say, well, maybe you're just not their type. No, they don't know. They didn't take the time to figure it out. They just dismissed it out of hand. And the only way to dismiss something out of hand is because you don't like the wrapper on the present. And it's a sad truth. And it's fine. It's not like, you can't really fault anybody for that. But that doesn't, again, it doesn't make it any easier. I have been turned down by skinny people and heavy people, and there is no one proclivity over the other. It's just a generality that living in the current world that we live in, you have to conform to general beauty standards. But a lot of times, where am I at here? A lot of times the door doesn't swing both ways. People want to be accepted for who they are, but when it comes time for accepting, sorry, we're going to make a small adjustment here. When it comes time to accept other people, that's not how it works. It's all about being able to do as little work as possible in the situation you're in. Because nobody wants to accept somebody of my size, but somebody my size, be it a female, male wants to be accepted regardless. And I have found that, well, this is also scientific, but in my personal experience, I have also found that it is mostly men of my size that are rejected over females that are larger. And that's not like a commentary on, men being more accepting or whatever. It's just a commentary of truth. It's the way it is. Whether it be, you know, whether it be just more easily acceptable because it gives the man the stigma of being just a fat lazy slob or whatever. I don't know. I'm not, I'm not the progenitor of those stereotypes, so I'm not really sure. So I think that whenever, that sort of thing is considered, everybody has feelings and everybody deserves love. And it's not you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else. That's not how that shit works. That's dangerously arrogant thinking, and you're only hurting the person you're talking to by saying that. You don't need to be able to love yourself to love somebody else. That's basically somebody who's like, you're not confident enough to date me because you don't love yourself. No, that's not how that shit goes. I can't stand myself. Working on bettering myself, but I can't stand myself. Doesn't mean I don't deserve somebody to love me. I realize this video is probably going to be about an hour long. I don't expect anybody to watch it all the way through, but if you want to watch it in parts, sorry, I just moved my microphone because I was paying attention to my mic volume. Go ahead and watch it in parts. It's not going anywhere. I enjoy, when we're talking about relationships, I enjoy seeing everybody prosper in a relationship. And the right other half can make your world a magical place of rainbows and sunshine and unicorn farts. But having nobody when you really want somebody, all because people cannot, no matter how vehemently they argue against you, cannot look past the exterior of things, is literally one of the worst tortures I could think of. Because it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just go back into my hole, I guess. And it's that kind of social interaction that for a while, I mean, I had some knee trouble, we'll get to that in a minute, but it's that kind of social interaction that actually turned me into like a hermit, basically. Punched my mic again, sorry. Trying not to, but cold, itchy nose, too much Kleenex. So until recently when I made some new friends, I wouldn't go out of my house unless I absolutely had to. And that kind of social anxiety can be crippling. But when you go out and try to, start a potentiality for a relationship and then something bad happens, that can just make it 10 times worse. It just I don't know, it's an explosion of stupidity. And so we don't have you don't have that sort of thing. You got to be able to accept people if you want to be accepted. You can't just, it can't be a one-way street. Um, I can never find this one. So yeah, it can't be a one-way street. You have to accept others as well. And I'm not saying that, somebody being heavy makes you uncomfortable. That you should, completely drop that or whatever, because that's a personal preference that, I wouldn't try to say is something that you should lose. But don't dismiss somebody out of hand. And I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about anybody. People who like anime, or people who play Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons or video games or whatever. Those people have true meritorious things that they could bring to your life. And it's difficult when people just ignore you out of hand. So speaking of being stuck in the house, for a few years, my closest friends know this, but I was, generally speaking, I fell down a flight of stairs and couldn't walk for a while. It was pretty bad. And I didn't leave my house for a long time. So I really only had like one or two friends that I, could see sort of on a semi-regular basis, because you could only sort of handle getting out for, hour or so a day. But the pain was such that I could barely manage that. And it was a combination of the fall and the arthritis in my legs, which is now sort of exacerbated by the fact that I'm, heavy. And just like this year, I struggled to take even a single step because the arthritis pain is so bad. And I mean, it's nobody's fault but myself. I'm not like blaming anybody for that. That would be ridiculous. I understand where the fault lies with my knee pain and, the choices I made. One, about being heavy, and two, about, one of my job careers. Like I said, I was a professional wrestler in high school, and I took falls I shouldn't have taken and risks I shouldn't have taken because of my size. But got lucky enough to not really break anything, but, ruined my knees. Well, one was already ruined, but that's, it was a stupid high school injury. But, so yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I haven't been in this kind of pain in a long time, since my last knee surgery. Like, it's kind of like I'm in so much pain that my body is like, it doesn't want to take a step. Like, I have to force it to go. It's a strange feeling, because wanting to pick up your foot and move it forward and put it down seems so easy. But some days I just can't get my leg to actually do it. The brain won't like send the impulse or something. It's insanity. I'm managing pretty well, but I'm taking my painkillers that the doctors prescribed, tramadol, and normally it does a pretty good job, but since we started getting all of our snow, it's completely stopped working. And that's the cold and arthritis. But when you go from being able to leave the house regularly, because I wasn't in any pain during the summer, you get back to a crippling depression. And people always refer back to the, oh well, he's fat, so there's no way. It just goes back to, everybody's got a story and you don't always know it. So yeah, I try to be sort of as nice as a person, as I can be to people. I forgive people way too often, maybe when they don't deserve it. Uh, I always try to. I'm always looking for the good in somebody. Always trying to give somebody another chance to redeem themselves or whatever. And it doesn't usually bite me in the ass. Sometimes maybe, but when it comes to personal sort of like internal problems for myself, like I can suffer through crippling depression and crippling social anxiety, which is a product of things that people say to me when I'm out in the world, which I love. I love to be out among people. I don't always like that people don't like me. I have been treated badly. Was it probably going on 8 years ago or so now? I was on a date with somebody. We were going to meet at the Olive Garden, and when she knew my size and when she saw me, she spoke very, very loudly, freaked out, and like insulted me and ran out of the restaurant in front of a full Olive Garden. So, it's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not looking for sympathy because I don't need that. What I need is for people to understand the struggles that people like me go through. And I realize that maybe that's, a tough thing for people. Maybe some people can't understand that. And, people who've never been my size or whatever, I don't expect them to just understand outright. But we're trying. I'm trying. And it's not always. I mean, people who say that life isn't fair are the people who generally have exactly what they want. And and that's why it's a problem, because they're trying to be like, well, life isn't fair, as they drive off in their Bentley or Lambo, or check the time on their Cartier watch. Life is as fair as you make it. If you treat people well and are a good person, life is going to treat you fairly. If you work hard and don't slack off and keep striving for your goals, life will give you exactly what you've earned. It's not to say that, sometimes people don't have shitty ass luck. It happens. But in the generalness of it all, life will give you exactly what you earn. I don't particularly, as a measure of things that happen, I don't particularly believe in karma, because that's a supernatural force that just is not quantifiable in any way. So that's neither here nor there. But people who are genuinely good people can have bad things happen to them. So it's not to say that like people that are good are immune to that sort of thing. This is more of a straight up dissertation on achieving as opposed to, you know, random happenstance like car accidents, you know, being T-boned by some asshole drunk driver, or, you know, breathing air and getting cancer. You know, these are all risks that we take living in this world, and they're not fair. Those parts of it are not, but those are also things that are not quantifiable as part of life isn't fair. Because, you know, there's no accounting for stupid people, no accounting for cancer. Because everything can give you cancer: the sun, the air, your food. But, you know, so the list of foods that can make you sick is a mile long. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard being. It's not just hard being me. That's. I don't want to make it seem like I'm the centerpiece of the universe or something silly like that. But it is hard being me, because justifiably I live in a measure of pain that is my fault. I live with grade 10 pain every day of the week, which actually manages to find its way to be worse in the winter, which I didn't think was possible. But it's usually manageable. The things that I can't manage are other people. So people who judge me for my size and things like that, yes, my size is my problem, but the fact that they judge somebody without getting to know them is their problem. And there's no accounting for being able to deal with a person like that. And I wish, you know, that people wouldn't, you know, I wish that what am I trying to say? I wish that the tables were even. Like, I wish it was a level playing field for everybody. I wish that nobody judged anybody, because I don't feel like that gets anybody anywhere. I feel like when you judge somebody, all you really do is leave your own weaknesses and shortcomings to bear for the whole world to see. That's not to say that you shouldn't judge evil in the world for what it is. I'm not going to make political commentary. I'm not going to, you know, make religious commentary. Things are what they are. So, but if, you know, what I suggest is, if somebody's treating you like a dick, then they deserve whatever it is you do to them. But if somebody's not really, like, if somebody hasn't earned it, that's, you know, probably, you know, something you should consider not judging them for. I don't feel like, of the typical person, I don't feel like judgment is justifiable in any way, unless they've done something wrong that you can quantify in the moment. Because I know sometimes my only crime is saying hi to somebody, or trying to get to know somebody, or something like that. And this isn't just like me being dramatic or over dramatic or anything. These things are self-evident truths that other people can see. You'll have to excuse my cat. He's meandering around the room if you can hear that. I don't know if you can, but... And so I feel like people should be treated, as they deserve to be treated. Like, I try to treat everybody like super nice because I feel like I don't get treated that well sometimes. So I feel like I want other people to feel like they're being treated well and maybe, give them a boost of ego or confidence that they might not have already had. And I feel like if more people did that, the world might be in not dire straits. Not nearly as dire straits. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. And if I am, let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Sorry. So I don't know. I think that everybody's got parts of their life that are difficult, and nobody's trials and tribulations should be minimized by anybody. Because everybody's got a story. And everybody's story is important in some way or another. And everybody's story is important to me because I think that people are important. I've got a few people that I keep close, and the world would be much tougher to deal with without those people. Like, the Frailing family. There's a few others. McConnell's, Erickson. My Saturday gaming group, all those people make getting through their week much easier than it used to be. As part of, coming out of my social anxiety shell, was meeting those people and trying to build some semblance of confidence. So it's not, none of it's easy. None of it's simple, and it's not going to be. That's life. Life is supposed to be hard. It's going to be the most difficult thing anybody does. And that's okay. But mostly kind of what I'm pushing for here is that just a wider range of understanding. People like me, heavy people, I have no qualms of calling myself fat because it's true. But for the context of this video, heavy people in general, we are people. We have feelings just like everybody else. We try to make it through the day. We like our friends. We like our family. We deserve love. And we have a lot to offer. Some of us are artistic. Some of us can write. Some of us are amazing storytellers. Some of us work in factories. I mean, those of us who aren't hurt all the time like myself, we lead productive, normal lives. And we just don't want to be shunned. Happens a lot. It's a stigma. And, stigmas don't disappear overnight. Maybe this video isn't going to make a difference. I care, but you know, I would care if it made a difference, but I can't force it. And I do hope the friends that see this, because I'll share it on my social media, and I have other people who will share it on their social media. You know, and I hope that my friends that see it and the friends of my friends, you know, it's going to be a long video. We're talking about probably about an hour and 20 minutes. I hope that people watch it and maybe pick something up, you know. People who aren't on my friends list, like I say, when I share this on Facebook, if they have a friend that shows it to them, you know, feel free to drop me a line. I'm almost always available. Like I said, usually I post these things under one of my gaming monikers, the General or Critical Mass Gaming. But you know, my name is Chris, obviously. So, well, it's not. Maybe it's not obvious. Whatever. My name is Chris, and I generally will talk to anybody at any time about anything because that's my gift. I have the perfect face for radio, but I can also talk and listen. And that's, you know, sort of been my lot in life. Sorry, needed some water. It's been a while since I flexed this particular muscle. So yeah, just sort of a little thing. Anyway, moving on to other things. I think that there is a lot to be learned by just watching the world that we live in right now. It's a difficult place to live in because, you know, a lot of people are at each other's throats, and it's not good. You know, we got to come together and try not to disintegrate the world, because the world is in the middle of a slow descent into madness, and that needs to stop. That's the only political commentary you're going to get from me on this one. I believe in people, so I always have. So, putting the question out to you folks, whoever might see this. And like I said, watch it in chunks because this is going to be a long video, and I don't want you to like waste an hour and a half, however long this takes, of your time. Oop, I hit an asteroid. I don't want you to waste, you know, a bunch of your time on watching this video all at once, because people have, you know, things to do. Life is a thing that happens in the real world. You know, what kind of things do you see? Like, do you try to make sure you treat everyone with mutual respect? Do you, you know, do heavy people make you uncomfortable? It doesn't matter if you admit it or not. You know, any comments that start belittling other people in my comments, I'll just delete them and it won't be a problem. So, you know, you can feel free to answer any way you like. You're not going to offend me, and you know, I've learned to live with that kind of criticism. You know, what things could you do better? You know, if you find yourself lacking in any particular area, I usually like to give some form of homework with every video. you know. I want people to just find ways to improve their happiness and to improve the situation of people around them, to increase their happiness, because it's a good feeling when you can make someone smile or feel better or just, brighten their day a little bit. Because sometimes people have shitty days, man. And sometimes that person may not have somebody because, like, they've had a falling out with the one person who would improve their shitty day. And that person has disappeared. And they're like, well, that's your problem. That's a real pisser, man. That'll turn your day into like stinky cheese. You know what I mean? So, what kind of things can you do to help? I always try to listen to people. I always try to keep an open mind, and I always try to help spin whatever positives I can pick up out of a situation, try to spin those and make them bigger than whatever problem I've been presented with, unless, it's something that I shouldn't try to minimize. Some things you shouldn't, deaths, things like that, life crises, things like that shouldn't be minimized at all. But when somebody's feeling down or whatever because of something that happened, I always try to like find the thread of positive, and I try to, make it the biggest ball of yarn of positive that I can for that person. Because I find that helps people, they being able to, like I said, it goes back to like helping people smile, especially if they're having a crappy day. So yeah, just try to help somebody find the positive. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to make a life-shattering change for the person. There's little things work. So what did everybody get for Christmas? I got new headphones, which actually made this video possible since I'm shifting around my room right now. Otherwise, this video would have been completely silent and kind of awkward. Not that it isn't awkward already, but I mean, it would have been much more awkward because I would have just been talking to myself and you guys wouldn't have heard a damn thing. That's weird, right? I have a lot of friends that work very hard. Some of them don't take time off at all. I have one friend in particular that is in my mind right now. I'm not going to say her name, but I look at her Facebook page when she posts, and she often goes on like 10, 12 day stretches without days off, and I know other people that do that too, but this young lady works in the medical field, and that's got to be just hell. I mean, you lose part of your life at that point, because your friends and family have to drop by the wayside because you're just gone so much. It's just like soldiers and stuff. I think they go through the same thing. They go away for a couple years and then they finally come back, but then things happen. They got to go back for a couple more years. That sort of thing. It's just being gone all the time. What kind of it's the same kind of loneliness that depressed people suffer, and people who are just alone in general. And it's a tough one. It's a tough one to live through. Some people like what they do, and that's 100% cool. And so maybe the lack of the friends or whatever, not lack of the friends, lack of the contact isn't a problem for those people. I envy those people, man, because I am a social creature. I realize that I have social anxiety, but like if I don't have to leave my house, I can type and talk on the phone or whatever nonstop. And I need, human interaction, because otherwise I would just be like inside my head all day. I would just be with my own thoughts. And that's not always good. It's not always good. Can make for a difficult time. So on a different note, I hope nobody's getting like air sick by the flying. Because, yeah. Motion sickness sucks. One of the things that I always try to stress that people remember when dealing with other people, not that I'm an expert, but we all know that everybody has an opinion, and that opinions can't, you can argue with them, but you can't fault people for their opinions. Unless the opinion is blatantly wrong, like they're just being asinine, that's a different story. But there are some subjects that people who have opinions, there is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. It's just an opinion. You can't really fault people for that. And when we get to that point and you're calling somebody names because of their opinion, you've already failed. You've already made the situation worse than it needs to be. Because you want that person to respect your opinion, but you refuse to respect theirs in any way, shape, or form. This is a social commentary I'm willing to have, because yes, everybody has opinions, but we shouldn't hate each other for them. We should be able to just sort of move on and accept the fact that not everybody's going to agree on things. I'm not going to pick any like specific issues or anything, because that's, I don't want my comment section to turn into a cesspool of everybody hating each other. I try to cultivate as many positive fan reinforcements and social interactions between my army, the critical mass army is what I call my followers, I try to enforce as many positive interactions between them as I can. And so it's important to remember that we're all people, we all have feelings, and everybody's feelings are just as important as everybody else's. Excuse me. Too much water. There is never a time when, I mean, you know, unless they're like pedophiles, that's different, but criminal, like certain criminal acts. But generally speaking, there's never a time when another person is not less than another person. Given the current state of the social economy in America right now, I personally feel like everybody needs to do a better job working together. So, don't be fools. Stay in school, kids. Don't do drugs. I'm contemplating doing some like a day in my life recordings. Have a friend go with me, go some places. Just have them sort of record what's going on. Help me just do like video logs of things that are going on. And you know, it's not to capture people treating me badly or things like that, because if I was by myself with a camera, people aren't going to do it. Even with a friend with a camera, people aren't going to treat me badly because they're going to be like, that's weird. So it's just more of a, you know, what kind of daily struggles I might deal with. Also, because I tend to think I'm a fairly funny guy, maybe there'll be some funny, you know, jokes in the videos. And as sort of strange as it sounds, I'm going to be working on a new setup, getting hopefully a ring light. Probably, and this is actually sort of embarrassing to even admit, going to be doing some nail art for the channel, or maybe a new channel. We're still working out the kinks in the process for the critical mass designs. I realize I'm a guy or whatever, but nail art has always been a fascination of mine, because it's the creation of the thing as opposed to, you know, just painting your nails. You know, I don't think I'll ever be talented enough to build like the acrylic statues that people put on the ends of their nails with the most talented nail artists, but you know, coming up with some custom gradients and things like that are probably within my ability to produce. And yeah, I know that's weird. And yeah, people will probably make fun of me. And no, I don't care. Because I think it'll be fun. So there's that at least. And I'm sort of inspired by Simply Nailogical and a few of the other people on the internet. When you've got a lot of time on your hands, you learn that you're interested in very strange things. Well, things that are stereotypically strange. I don't particularly think it's strange, but maybe other people do. Maybe I'm the weird one in the long run. Who knows? But hey, maybe we'll have some fun along the way. Maybe I'll get good enough to actually, like, do something constructive with my nails. Plus, it'll give me something to talk about other than video games, since back in June I hit my head real hard, real hard, and got a real bad concussion. And up until that point, I had a photographic memory, and it took about a month and a half to realize that that part of my life is gone. Like, not. I remember what happened in June. That's not what I mean. What I mean is my photographic memory is gone. Like, I don't have the recollection I used to have. And that's a difficult thing because you lose yourself. You lose a bit of yourself when that happens. Which I didn't exactly expect. I've been trying to get into the doctor since June, but he keeps canceling on me because he's a horse humping bitch, I guess. I don't know. It's bad. It's because of the insurance I had, though. I'm sure of it. But it got to the point where he was like, well, you can see my nurse. Like, yeah, but I'm here to talk to you. He's like, well, you can see my nurse. And so getting another doctor has been exceptionally trying. We're working on it. But anyway, so yeah, when I hit my head, I lost that part of myself, and it's been difficult because it was a part of my personality that I always relied on, was to be able to just snap remember things that people needed me to do. You know, somebody has a problem or whatever, and they're thinking that nobody remembers. You know, I could summon up that knowledge if I needed it. And that's gone now. I still have some long-term memory issues from the concussion. I've had several concussions in my life. That's why I'm having the problem I'm having now. So it's not like I hit my head once and then I'm, you know, suddenly like dopey dwarf. But yeah, so it's been difficult. So I've had to find ways to live within that, because for a while after I hit my head, once I was just sort of a numb zombie, and I'd sort of like lost all interest in things that I would normally do, like the video games and stuff like that. I was an avid gamer, but after I hit my head, I literally had no desire to play any of my games ever. I quit them all. Uninstalled World of Warcraft for the first time since like 2007, whenever Wrath of the Lich King came out, and have no intentions of going back. And it's cost me some friends, and you know, I don't get to talk to some people, so that's been a struggle. And you know, you just learn to live within it. But there were chunks of my personality that I lost that were like, I was just being mean, which is like typically not where I live. Because, you know, being mean can suck sometimes. It's not worth it. Not ever worth it. Well, that's not true, but for the most part, it's not worth it. And, you know, I lost that. I lost the ability to be nice for a while. And, you know, it's coming back, but it was a shock because I just didn't realize that you could really lose that sort of part of yourself. Because I can't get into the doctor, all I've been able to do is just like read some things to get that information as good as I can. So yeah, you know, I was going through that. And, you know, the headaches aren't as bad as they used to be, but man, when I hit the side of that door, I was for sure that I was like done for. It was a mess. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to the possibility of doing nail art for the channel. You know, if you guys got some suggestions of things you want me to put on the channel, I'm willing. You just go ahead and let me know down in the old comment doobly doo. I used to post Binding of Isaac videos, but most people just thought they were weird. So the game itself is a little weird, I guess, but it's a good game, but it's not for everybody. So if you've got something you want to see, you know, you let me know. I could do a Dead Island playthrough, try to do a Dead Island playthrough. Never played the game by myself. I always had help, or a partner, I guess. You want to call it that, whatever. It's a zombie game if you haven't heard of it. It's kind of a cool concept for a zombie game. I've never played the second one. So yeah, if you guys want to see something, just let me know. Or if you have nail art or whatever you want me to look at, or you know, talk to me about Notre Dame, or because that's my favorite school, or you know, if you want to talk about whatever, just leave me comments in the box, and I will, you know, I will cover any topic that won't get me banned from YouTube. Adpocalypse 2017. By the way, I don't monetize any of my videos, so it's not like I'm here for money. I'm here for enjoyment. You know, if you're an ASMR person, you know, if a soothing voice helps you sleep, that works. You know, I don't judge anybody for any of that. I have a lot of friends in the ASMR community. Heather Feather, ASMR requests. These people are good people. Dedicate their lives to helping people get sleep. Because Lord knows at 4:09 in the morning, I'm not sleeping. As much as I'd like to be. Although I can currently hear the street plow people going up and down the road trying to make it so that nobody can get out of their driveways. I mean, clear the road so that people can get to work. What kind of things do you guys deal with on a daily basis? Do you guys live pretty good lives? Do people ridicule you to your face sometimes? Like, have you gotten away scot-free, or has it happened? I mean, you know, nothing's perfect. What kind of daily struggles do you have? Whether it be arthritis pain in your hip or your back or constant migraines, which I imagine are the worst. I don't get them that often, but when I do, they are horrible. But I do know people that have them all the time, and that seems like hell. And for whatever it is you do go through, how do you go about handling it? Do you have somebody you talk to? Do you, well, it probably doesn't, talking doesn't help for migraines, but you know what I mean. When you have bad depression, do you have somebody you talk to, or do you just swallow it and carry on? So that works for some people. I don't know that it would work for me. But it does work for some people. And if you have somebody that you go to, if you're having serious problems and they're always, always there for you, hug that person. Because that's rare that one person will just be whatever you need them to be whenever you need them to be it. And if you have a person like that, hug the shit out of that person. Hug them and then don't stop hugging until it gets a little uncomfortable or they start gasping for air because they can't breathe. Because that person understands you. And feels that you are worth it enough to be that person for you. Not everybody gets that. It's a good one. That is a win in my book. It's a victory and a treasure. This has been going on for a while, so I am running out of things to say. But, hopefully I got my point across in general. This probably would have been easier had I scripted what I wanted to talk about, but that's not really how I do things. Like I said, it's been over a year since I flexed the talk to myself muscle for a commentary. I have said the word commentary a lot this video. So we'll be winding up this here video. This is the last mission. So I probably won't upload this in any sort of high definition so that everybody who wants to watch it can watch it without issue. I know sometimes compression issues with YouTube, when things are super high definition, the phones don't like to use it. And we get nice skittering, jumpy video, which makes my skin crawl. So hopefully, 720 will be low enough that everybody can watch it. So yeah. So basically, I just want to thank everybody for listening, especially if you made it this far. I hope people do make it this far. If you made it this far in one sitting, what the hell is your problem? That's a joke. It's not a good joke, but it's a joke. But no, for real, what the hell are you doing? I'm not worth the hour and a half, however long this takes expenditure all at once, although I appreciate it. And, hope you guys got some enjoyment out of the video at the very least. If I didn't cover any subject matter that you wanted to hear, you know, at least maybe you enjoyed some space missions, and you know, maybe the sound of my voice lulled you to sleep or something. I don't know. Whatever you gleaned from this, I'm glad. So yeah, and one last, you know, thing, just like I said, if you watch this video and tell me what sort of things you want to see on the channel, I'm willing to cover quite a bit. I think that interactions with people who enjoy what I do is the most rewarding thing I can get out of this channel. Like I said, I don't monetize, so there won't, or there shouldn't be any ads on this video. If there are, it's because somebody has claimed a copyright, which I will take care of to remove the ads. So feel free to watch it as many times as you want. You're not putting any money in my pocket. And I think that's gonna just about do it. In about 12 seconds, I'll land back in my bridge there, and I'll go ahead and cut this off. I've been the General, or Critical Mass, or Chris, if you prefer, and I do appreciate your time. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.